Hello students, I am here with another video from the chapter of class 7th Science NCERT book, that is chapter number 3rd, Fiber to Fabric. Before starting today's video, I would like to tell you all that till now what all things we have discussed in this chapter. So children, we have started this chapter we have seen in the last class we were studying about the fibers, how this is being obtained. So we have seen this fiber is going to be obtained from various animals. The most common animal is the sheep. Okay, so we have seen about the different animals which are yielding the wool. So the most common is the sheep. Together with the sheep, there are various other animals which are going to yield this wool yarn, you could say that, or it is the fleece which is responsible for the growth of the hair on the body of the sheep. And this hair becomes useless because during summers, if the hair is present on the body of the sheep, then what happens? This is going to, this creates a problem for because it is creating problem for the sheep, that is why there is one use of this fleece, that is, it is used for creating the different types of wool. So in this chapter we have to study mainly regarding two fibers. One is the wool, other one is the silk. Okay, so wool is obtained from the sheep as well as the animals which is having the good quality of hair, that is it could be yak, it could be alpaca, it could be llama, it could be angora goat. Even goat, sheep, yak, camel, all these are the animals. Even we have studied about the table which is going to give us the this gives us the information for different animals, which gives us the quality of wool. Now we will see that the processing of fiber, we have already seen that fibers are going to, it is being converted into wool. This is being converted into wool. Okay, so if it is being converted into wool, it is going to, it follows some steps. Now, what are the steps of processing of wool? So, what are the steps of processing of wool, children? The steps of processing of wool consist of the first step, that is shearing. Shearing means cutting or the shaving of the hair of the sheep. Then, second was scoring. Scoring means it is the cleaning of the washing of the hair of the various sheep. Okay, with various ways, because the animal is going to move from one place to another. It contains, its hair becomes dirty because of the presence of the dirt, dust, and also it is going to have the different types of the pollutants would be present on the body of the sheep, so that has to be washed. So this is being done with the help, after it is being sheared, it is being scored. It is going to be washed in the machines. Next, after scoring, the third step comes, that is called sorting. Once the hair becomes clean, it is going to be sorted on the basis of its texture. The next thing is the fourth step. The fourth step becomes, it is the removing birds. Okay, it helps in the removal of the birds. This is being done with the help of machines. It is done with the help of machines. It is done with the help of the hand pickings also. Okay, hand picking is being done. Fine. Now the next step, will move on to the next step. After this 4 steps we have completed yesterday. I have also revised it. Now next step is the 5th step, which is after removal of birds, it is also going to be scored again. So the 5th step Step 5th under the process of the processing of wool is the dyeing of wool. Okay, so the wool is being dyed in the different colors. So because it is having the different, the wool is not having different colors because it is a type of hair which is of natural color. So the fleece has natural color. So the fleece has natural color. It is brown, white, black. So these are the 3 colors which is present in which the fleece is being obtained. But we can see that the wool is of different color. Wool is of different textures, because the different texture means it could be green, yellow, red, orange, many colors are there. So how these colors are coming? This color is coming because the scode, after removing the burrs, we are dyeing this wool into various colors. The last step is the 6th step. The 6th step is the fibers are straightened and they are combed and rolled into yarns. Making of yarns. Yarn, यहाँ पर किस चीज का yarn है? It is wool. This is how the wool is being obtained. Okay, so the yarn is being made. Now this long fiber made into wools, the long fiber of wool is used for making sweaters, shawl. It is being woven into woolen clothes. This yarn is going to be converted into woolen clothes. Okay, this is being converted into woolen cloths. Okay, now the next is the processing of the wool could be represented as follows. So this is given in a very good manner in your book in the form of the flow chart. You can easily draw this flow chart again. Flow chart means with the help of the arrow and the spellings. So the processing of wool consists of the following steps. First is shearing, then sorting, then scoring, then sorting, then after sorting, cleaning of burrs, cleaning of burrs. After cleaning of burrs, it is being dyed. And the last step is the rolling. So rolling of wool, it results in the making of new woolen cloths. Okay, so this is known as, these are the different steps of the processing of wool. After the processing of wool, we can see that new woolen clothes are being woven. Fine. So these are the steps which are being involved in the processing of wool. Now at various steps, you could easily please remember the step. The step number 1 is shearing, which means cutting of the, shaving of the hair of the wool from the hair, the fleece from the sheep. Then scoring means washing that fleece. Then sorting is being done on the basis of various texture. It is being separated. Then cleaning of burrs is being done because small fluffy fibers are being generated over it, and because of which what happens, this is going to create problem in knitting. Then after that, dyeing is being done, which is being colored. Then rolling of the wool is being done. Once the rolling of the wool is being done, then it helps in the making of the new sweater. Fine. Now the next part is the occupational hazards. Occupational hazards means at various steps. See, shearing, scoring, sorting, all these are dealing with the fiber of the animals. Now if animal has if animal is having any disease, if the animal is diseased or it has certain problem in its skin or in the hair, which is going to create, it is going to transfer that problem to the human beings which are responsible for doing these steps. So it becomes very difficult for the people, those who are always in contact with these fibers, these materials which is being taken out, which is being coming out from the animals itself. So this is in direct contact, people are in direct contact with the fibers, the hair, the colors, the chemicals. So which also may create some problem in the body of the human being who is working in these industries. So it is known as occupational hazards. Occupational hazards. What is the meaning of the word hazard? Hazard means problem, danger. Danger. Danger of what? Danger of the animal, danger to the life. So wool industry is an important means of livelihood for various people, for many people in the country. But sorter's job is a risky one. Sorter's job is the risky one, because the person is shearing as well as sorting. Shearing also is the shaving of the hair, which is going to be done with the help of the machines. If the body of the sheep contains different diseases, it also may transmitted to the body of the people who is working continuously with the hair of the sheep. Okay. Now, one such disease is caused by the bacteria which is called anthrax. The name of the bacteria is anthrax. So this anthrax bacteria is going to cause the fatal blood disease called Sorter's disease. Okay, this causes the blood disease. It is blood related disease which is being present in the body of the sorter who is doing sorting, because it has to touch that hair just for removing the various unwanted things, as well as the good quality of hair could be sorted. So the sorters, the sorting people, or the people those who are doing the sorting of the wool, they are at greater risk for this anthrax disease. The name of the disease is only anthrax. So it causes a fatal disease called Sorter's disease. This causes poison in the blood, because of which the person dies. Okay, now it says that here two things are given. So their industries, when the people are dying, when the people is going to color, they are going to color the fibers. It is going to create. They are always in contact with the chemicals. When they are cleaning the birds, again they are in contact with the hair. If they are doing sorting, again they are in contact with the hair of the sheep directly. Now, if the sheep is infected, it is going to transmit its infection to the people, to the human beings who are dealing with, or who are in the wool industry, who are working in the wool industry. So this is what is known as the occupational hazard. Now, if you have to define the word occupational hazard, children, how can you define that? It is a danger which is being caused while doing our occupation. Okay, it says that Buju is wondering why it hurts when somebody pulls our hair. If someone pulls our hair, it causes hurt. But when we have a haircut, then what happens? It is not hurting us. So what is the reason behind it? Because hair is a dead cell. It is made up of dead cells. That is why upon pulling, the last part of the hair is being joined with the skin, which is going to pull the skin, and the skin is going to become, it is sensitive, and it causes pain in the skin. It is not that the hair is getting hurt. Or when we are having haircut, because it is a dead cell, It is not going to create any problem. Now Bujo is wondering why a cotton garments cannot be kept as warm in winter. Cotton garments are not going to keep us warm in the winter as woolen sweaters do. So the reason behind this is same and very simple, that the sweaters it is being made up of fibers, and fibers of wool, they have space in between. Now if they are having space in between, they are going to the air is a bad conductor of heat, or we can simply say it is the insulator. Now it works as an insulator, it helps in insulating the body of the animals. Now when the human beings are wearing the sweater or the shawls, then the air is getting trapped inside, in between the layers of the sweater, in between the layers of the fabrics. Now when the layers of the fabric or the fiber, they catch air, they trap the air. This trapped air is not allowing the heat of the body to come out, and it is also not allowing the heat from outside to enter inside the body of the people. Okay, so this is what is the reason because of which the cotton garments are not going to keep us warm as compared to the woolen garments. So in cotton garments there is something different. We wear the cotton clothes during summers because it has a greater capacity to absorb the sweat. It also allows the air to move inside. Okay, so this is the another reason. But we are talking about the woolen clothes, so they are going to keep us warm because they trap air in between the layers. They trap air in between the fibers, which is not allowing the exchange of heat from the exterior environment, and also not allowing the heat to come outside from your body. Now next is the next fiber which we will start is the silk. So the next fiber which we have to study is silk. Silk fibers are also the animal fibers. So again, this is an animal fiber. Why? Because silk is also obtained from the animal called silkworm. The cocoon of the silkworm. Okay. So we have already know regarding this from the very beginning, we easily know that the silkworm is going to help in the manufacturing of the silk fiber. So silk fibers are also the animal fiber. Silkworm spins the silk fiber, and the rearing of the silkworm is done for obtaining the silk. So silk is being obtained by rearing of silkworm. Rearing of silkworm is being done. Rearing of silkworm for obtaining, rearing of silkworm for obtaining silk is known as sericulture. It is known as sericulture. So what is sericulture? Sericulture is the rearing of the silkworm for obtaining the silk. This is known as sericulture. Now what is the meaning of the word rearing? We have already studied in the rearing of sheep in the previous video. In the last class only I told you that rearing it means taking care. We are taking care of the silkworm because we have to obtain the silk from them. So that is why we are caring, we are taking care by giving them good food, good shelter to live. Okay, so silkworm is going to, they are going to give rise to the silk thread, and the silk thread is going to be woven into a beautiful garments, beautiful cloth, beautiful fibers like silk sarees, or it could be the silk material. Okay, now we will study about the life cycle, the life history of the silkworm. How is this sericulture, how is this rearing of the silk moth is being done? Let us discuss. So the rearing of the silk moth depends upon the life cycle of, life history or life cycle, both are correct. Silk moth. The life history of the silk moth, or it is the life cycle of silk moth. Okay, the female silk moth lays egg which hatches into the larvae called caterpillar or the silkworm. So here we can say that the female lays egg. these egg hatches into caterpillars. These eggs, they hatch into caterpillars, or they are the silkworm. Once the silkworm is going to grow, they are ready to enter in the next stage called pupa. They are known as pupa. The next stage is called pupa. Now this pupa is going to create, its home. This creates cocoon. This creates cocoon. Okay, then after that what happens, this cocoon is going to be washed, it is going to be dyed, it is going to be taken out, and this helps in the, again it hatches and it grows into adult silk moth. Again this is going to lay egg, this is going to form caterpillar, pupa and cocoon, and then adult again. So this is about the life cycle of the silk moth, where the female silk moth is there, which is going to lay the egg. It looks like a butterfly, but it is not a butterfly, it is a silk moth. Okay? So what happens? They are going to hatch the egg. It lays egg on the mulberry leaf. Okay, it lays egg on the mulberry leaves. Then it hatches into the caterpillar. Okay, it hatches into caterpillar. Fine. It voraciously eats the mulberry leaf. I'll just explain this. Then it develops into, again it develops into the pupa, and inside this there is one animal. This caterpillar stops eating and then it becomes the pupa, and then this pupa home is known as it develops into cocoon, and again this hatches as the next, it emerges out, again a fly is going to emerge out once it is going to be grown. So this is the female silk moth. This is the female. It lays egg, it becomes caterpillar. Okay, it becomes caterpillar, and it is also known as silk moth. Now this silk moth is going to become pupa. This creates cocoon. This cocoon helps in the hatching of the adult silk moth. Again this is going to eat the mulberry leaves. They live on the mulberry leaves and they will grow. They will, again whatever they are going to do, they are going to hatch. They are going to give rise to the, they are going to lay the eggs. Now we'll start from the first step, that is the female silk moth. The adult male and the female silk moth, they are going to live, and then the female silk moth, they are going to lay the eggs on the mulberry leaves. So these are the mulberry leaf. Okay, this is a mulberry leaf. So mulberry leaves are they are the favorite food of this silk moth. What it is being done, after the hatching of the eggs, they give rise to the second step, that is called caterpillar. So this caterpillar is going to eat very voraciously. It grows in it grows in up to several meters in a very short span of time, because it eats very much. Okay? So what happens, this is going to eat the mulberry leaves and it is going to grow, it is going to become very large in a very small span of time. Once it eats, it stops eating, it enters into the next stage. Now this caterpillar becomes very slow, it is not going to eat at all. It stops eating and enters into the next stage called pupa. Inside pupa, the silk moth is going to live. This is going to live, and this is going to be present inside the pupa. It lives inside. It is going to spin a thread around this. So this pupa gets covered. So this is the second step, this is the third step, this is the fourth step, and this is the fifth step. Okay. So this pupa is going to it is going to spin a thread, a proteinaceous thread around it. And the home of this pupa is known as cocoon. This pupa is present, it is going to, when it starts growing, it becomes an adult silk moth. Adult silk moth is emerging outside the cocoon. Now this cocoon is taken and this is being processed. This stage is responsible for the formation, for the development of the silk fiber. Okay, so the female silk moth lays egg, from which it hatches a larvae called caterpillar or the silkworms. They grow in size. When caterpillar is ready to enter into the next stage of life history, it is called as the pupa stage. Okay, now it first weaves a net to hold around it. It swings its head from side to side as it is given here. Okay, and it enters into the next stage. During this movement of the head, the caterpillar secretes a fiber made up of proteins. So it secretes a fiber. This caterpillar, it secretes a fiber which is in protein, which is a type of protein. It is going to harden when it is exposed to air. When it is exposed to air, and it becomes silk fiber. Soon the caterpillar completely covers itself it covers itself by the silk fiber on the pupa. So this pupa is going to weave, it is going to secrete a chemical, it is going to secrete a fiber, very fine fiber, which is made up of protein. Okay, this protein is going to help in the formation of the silk thread. It is going to become hardened when it is exposed to air. Soon this covers itself, and this is known as cocoon. So I have drawn this. Okay. The further development of pupa takes place inside the cocoon. The cocoon is the home for the pupa. Adult silk moth will become, and then it is going to emerge out from this cocoon. Okay. Now, this stage is responsible for the development of the silk. We process this stage. We are not going to kill the animal. We just take up this cocoon, we take up this cover, and we process it. This covering is called as cocoon. The covering is called as cocoon. Please remember. The further development of pupa into the moth continues inside the cocoon. Silk fibers are used for weaving the silk cloth. Can you imagine a soft silk yarn is producing a strong thread as compared to the steel? Okay, so yes, it is a very strong thread because it is being twisted. Many fibers are taken together and they are being twisted. So silk fibers are used for weaving the silk cloths. Can you imagine that soft silk yarn as strong as comparable thread of steel? The silk yarn of the thread is obtained from the cocoon of the silk moth. There is a variety of silk moth which looks very different from one another. For the silk yarn, they are being yielding the different textures. For example, coarse silk is there, which is not very smooth, it is rough. Then smooth silk is there, shiny silk is there. Thus, the tussar silk, munga silk, kosa silk, etc. the name has been given because their variety of the silk moth is very different from each other. Now they are obtained from different silk moth. They are eating different. They are going to create the different chemicals, this fiber proteins, and then this is going to give rise to the different quality, different types of silk. The most common silk is the mulberry silk, because mulberry leaf is available everywhere, and this is the favorite food of the silkworm. So which one is the most common? This is the mulberry silk. The silk fibers from the cocoon of this moth is soft, lustrous and elastic and can be dyed into beautiful colors. Sericulture is the culture of the silkworm, and it is very old occupation in India. India produces plenty of silk on the commercial scale. Yes, so this is known to be as a very good occupation also, and this helps in creating the occupation opportunities among the people, where these villagers are going to help in making of, they can earn their livelihood because of this silk industry. Okay, so they can easily cultivate the cocoons, and they are going to process the silk. Now we'll study about the processing of the silk, children, in the next class. For this, you can easily revise with this diagram. You can easily revise the topic of the life history of the silk moth. Please remember it, and also we'll discuss all these things: how to process the silk, how this cocoon is being transformed into a pure in the form of the fibers as well as in the cloths in the next class. So children, that's all for today's video. I will meet you all in the next class. I'll come up with the processing of the silk video in the next class, and till then, please watch this video and also write down your things in your copy, and then ask me if there is any doubt in your online class. Okay, so please be prepared for studying the, and see, this is the revision part, children. So you all should understand how the things are going, what syllabus we have to study. This is just a kind of revision, so please make sure that you are studying well. Okay, so that's all for today. I'll meet you all in the next video with the next topic to be discussed.